In the decades since Skyrim's release, there have been countless lighting mods that have graced the Nexus, but as of late there's been quite a few advancements in lighting mods warranting a video that solely focuses on the topic. Lighting is an integral part of visually enhancing your game. Lots of graphical videos place much of their emphasis on texture mods, which is of course important. Although you could have the highest quality texture mods, but without proper lighting the game will look dull and graphically lacking by modern standards. In this video I'm going to be covering interior and exterior lighting overhauls, ENB, as well as mods that revamp existing light sources or add entirely new ones. These mods will drastically improve your game's visuals and serve as a perfect baseline to add additional graphics mods on top of. Lux completely reworks interior lighting from scratch by hand placing reworked light sources in interior cells. The main objective of Lux is to obtain consistent, realistic lighting for ENB users. What this means is eliminating fake light sources while maintaining an environment without spaces that are too dark or overly bright. Lux places an emphasis on natural lighting. By natural lighting, I'm referring to the light that shines through the windows or the crevices in the walls and ceilings of caves or ruins. The shadow casting from these sources is done brilliantly. Natural light from Lux is also dynamic. It not only changes according to day and night cycles, but it is influenced by climate as well. The mod is constantly being updated in the form of general improvements and compatibility patches. If you haven't given Lux a try, it is most definitely worth it. The same author of Lux recently released an exterior lighting overhaul that directly complements Lux's interiors and delivers the same degree of quality and consistency. I'm talking about Lux Orbis. Lux Orbis completely overhauls lighting in all exterior world spaces. It accomplishes this by replacing all vanilla lighting with Lux's new lighting templates. This includes dynamic lighting that casts shadows in places where it's most needed. Lux Orbis is tailored for ENB users, but it is of course not a definite requirement. If you choose to use Lux Orbis without an ENB, expect to have lower light intensity compared to vanilla. Although this could be rectified if you run the ENB Light Patcher. More details about this could be found on the mod page. Now let's take a moment to talk about ENB. The ENB preset you decide to use alongside any of the lighting mods I have covered or am going to cover in this video will greatly influence the end result. My preferred ENB preset, one I highly recommend, is Zangdar's ENB. Zangdar's preset is a modified version of Rudy's ENB for Cathedral weathers. It's designed specifically to run alongside Lux. It is for this reason that interiors with this ENB are truly breathtaking, although exteriors are nothing to scoff at either. Colors with this preset are vibrant and the world much more fantasy-like. Although this preset favors a more fantasy look, it doesn't stray too far away from realism. Zangdar's preset is on the more performance-heavy side compared to other ENBs, but the trade-off is most certainly worth it. The performance impact will of course vary based on the graphical mods you're running, as well as your hardware. With my PC and specs, I get a stable 60 FPS for the most part, with a few minor exceptions. If you're curious about my PC specs, I will leave the details down in the description. Luckily for those that need it, there's a performance-friendly option available for Zangdar's preset. The aesthetic of Skyrim's light sources leave little to be desired. A good example of this is the Play-Doh-looking candles with noticeable texture seams. Rudy HQ Miscellaneous rectifies this by drastically enhancing the meshes and textures of most candles in the game. For the purposes of this video, the main focus from this particular mod is the candles, but there are quite a few other item reworks that are worth mentioning. As you may have already noticed, there are new meshes and textures for silverware. There is new pottery, bed pillows, as well as a few food items such as apples and tomatoes, all of which are super high quality and a welcome addition to the game. The only place where this mod falls short is that it doesn't cover every candle in the game. Thankfully, the mod Rudification Rudy's Candles expanded incorporates the candles introduced in Rudy Miscellaneous to places that were left untouched by the original mod. This includes shrine candles, a variety of different chandeliers, as well as the candles within the walls of Nordic ruins. With that, there is only one last place left with the original candles intact. That would be enchanting tables, but look no further, the mod Enchanting Station Candles has got you covered. And with that, all standard candles in your game should be covered. Although we can't forget about horn candles, which you will encounter quite frequently in interiors. SD's Horn Candles introduces new models and textures for all horn candles, providing a highly detailed, rustic look that fits quite well with Skyrim's aesthetic. The horns come in both a 2K and 4K version depending on what you're looking for. As I mentioned earlier, Lux and Lux Orbis eliminate fake light sources from the game. As a result, you can expect certain areas to be dark compared to that of vanilla Skyrim. A great way to counteract this is by introducing new sources of light to the game in a way that makes sense. There's a ton of mods to accomplish this, but a great place to start is with the mod ENB Light. This mod adds ENB sources on top of many existing light sources and effects, making them cast shadows and illuminate grass. Where ENB Light and vanilla lighting differ is vanilla light does not illuminate grass and is limited in the amount of shadowed light sources that could be on screen at any given moment. The only limitation in place for ENB Light is your PC's power. This mod touches a variety of different lights and objects, including, but not limited to, spell effects, both in hand as well as during casting, bound weapons, shouts, and a variety of different creatures. To further expand on the concept of ENB Light, we have Rudy HQ, More Lights for ENB, a series of mods, each of which adds ENB particle lights to various different objects spread throughout the game. It touches on aspects that weren't covered in the original ENB Light mod. Everywhere affected by Rudy's lights simply makes sense because the only items that are targeted are ones that fittingly could emit light. To even further expand upon this theme, Particle Lights for ENB is another series of mods that adds ENB particle lights to even more objects and aspects of the game in the same fashion as Rudy. Based on what you're seeing on screen, you should be able to get a good idea of what these ENB Light mods are capable of. But due to the overwhelming amount of these mods, I will not be addressing each and every one. Although I will have links to all the ones I personally use down in the description. Now let's take a small detour down into the depths of a Dwemer ruin. There's a few mods to take a look at that revitalize these ruins through the introduction of new light sources and glow maps. Dwemer Glowmapped is a collection of mods that adds glow maps to a variety of different pieces of Dwemer technology and items. When Dwemer automatons become active, so does their glow, and when they're defeated, it slowly fades. Dwemer weapons and armor also emanate a glow. It emphasizes certain parts of the armor and is very aesthetically pleasing. Dwemer Pipework Reworked completely reimagines the Dwemer heating and ventilation system by reworking the pipe and boiler meshes in addition to adding animated fans. The moving mechanisms create a deeper level of realism and viability to the functionality of this Dwemer technology. In regards to lighting, the portions of the pipe system that disperse heat illuminate the surrounding area. We also have Near Vanilla Project Control Cube Redone. This mod retextures Dwemer control cubes and adds a pulsating ENB light. The result is a high quality control cube that emanates power. The culmination of all these lighting mods transforms Skyrim from a dull world to a vibrant one that is as dramatic as it is realistic. At the same time, it serves as a great baseline to build your graphical setup on top of. If you plan on using any of these mods, be sure to show some support to the mod authors by endorsing their work, and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Other than that, I appreciate each and every one of you for dropping by, and as always, thank you for watching.